Well, this June, Californians will head to the polls to help decide who could become the state's next governor. While the final decision comes in November, for now, 8 leading Democratic hopefuls and several Republicans are in the race. To help you get to know them and what they say they bring to the job, I sat down with the candidates at last month's Democratic convention. I will also do the same with the Republican Party. And to keep things fair, of course, I drew names at random for these interviews. Meet Tom Steyer. For people that are meeting you for the first time, why are you deciding to run for governor of California?
Well, I'm running for governor because Californians can't afford to live in California anymore. The cost of living is at a place led by housing costs, but going to multiple parts of people's budgets where people literally are leaving the state and literally can't pay the bills. And that is a huge government failure. And I think it's critical that the government address it, and the governor addresses it with urgency.
Now, if you were to be elected, what would be your top 3 priorities your first year in office?
The number one issue about affordability is housing, because it's the biggest bill that everybody faces. It's up to 50% of your pay. So the first thing we're going to have to address is housing. One thing we can do in the short run is put in rent control, and I would do it. The second thing that I think is critical is, look, our electricity costs are a critical element of family costs. Californians pay twice as much for electricity as other people around the United States. That's unacceptable. I've talked about the need to have a different oversight at the Public Utilities Commission, and I've also talked about the idea of local competition for the electric monopolies that are actually providing that electricity. And the third thing that I would do that I think is very different from what everyone else is talking about, call a special election to close a corporate real estate tax loophole that's been on the books since 1978, that Donald Trump himself benefits from. By our estimate, we'll bring in $22 million a year to local governments for education and healthcare.
California has spent billions of dollars trying to fix the homelessness crisis, but yet you can see the problem really persists throughout the state. What would you do differently as governor?
So we have a homeless plan, which involves getting people into permanent housing, which takes on average 7 years and costs $750,000 a key. If you just take a step back and ask yourselves, can that possibly work? The answer is no. So one of the things I'm absolutely determined to do is to use emergency interim housing. Get people off the street. They don't have to be clean. They can bring their dog. There's, mutual, group dining, group laundry, and they're safe.
Do you believe that California has gone too far, not far enough, or has struck the right balance on criminal justice reform?
About 70% of Californians voted for Prop 36, and Prop 36 was basically a couple things, but one of the things it was hugely about was treatment instead of incarceration for nonviolent criminals. But it meant that actually the goal was going to be to rehabilitate, to prepare you for society. And that's the kind of thing I actually believe. For nonviolent criminals, well, the state has not funded it. Absolutely, we need to incarcerate violent people who are going to be a danger to people in their communities. But for people who aren't violent criminals, rehabilitating them, treating them, is a much more successful and effective way to deal with crime.
And that is our last candidate profile for the Democrats. If you missed any of these profiles, giving you a closer look at the top Democrats in the race, you can stream them all right now on our ABC 10 app. We are also working to sit down with the Republican candidates as we continue our coverage for the race for California's next governor.